If you've ever walked into a room where everyone was smiling, but you felt like you were walking into a funeral, I need you to lean in. Maybe you've spent your life being told to get a thicker skin, or asked why you have to take everything so personally. You feel a constant, vibrating pressure from other people's unspoken moods. You absorb the tension in the air like a sponge, and it leaves you exhausted. You've been told you are fragile. You've been told you are overreacting. But the people telling you that are operating on a lower frequency. I'm Silas, and today we're looking at the actual data behind your high-fidelity nervous system. You aren't too sensitive. You are a high-accuracy emotional detector, and your radar is simply running at a higher resolution than the average room can handle. You aren't broken. You're running a high-resolution OS in a low-res world. This isn't about being emotional. This is about data processing. Think back to your childhood. Remember when you would cry for no reason. Your parents were confused. They said everything was fine. But you could feel the coldness in the way they didn't look at each other. You were detecting the silent scream behind their masks. In the laboratory of the self, we call this high-fidelity signal processing. While the average person hears the words, you are processing the micro-tremor in the voice, the dilation of the pupil, and the aggressive energy being suppressed behind a polite smile. You weren't a difficult child. You were an emotional auditor in a world full of people who were pretending. You were the only one in the house who was actually being honest about the environment. Let's look at the hardware. Most people have a standard sensory gating system. This is the brain's ability to filter out redundant or unnecessary stimuli. In the average brain, the thalamus acts like a polite secretary, only letting the most important calls through to the prefrontal cortex. But in your brain, that gate is wide open. You aren't just hearing the conversation. You're hearing the hum of the refrigerator, the distant siren, and most importantly, the subtle shift in a person's breathing when they start to lie. This isn't a glitch, it's a biological specialization. You are a sentinel intelligence. The first sign of this high-fidelity hardware is what I call the inconsistency alarm. You feel a physical glitch in your chest when someone's words don't match their energy. It's not a hunch, it's your prefrontal cortex flagging a data mismatch. Humans are masters of social performance, but the body is a terrible liar. When someone says they are fine, but their microexpressions reveal a flash of contempt or sorrow, your brain registers that as a systemic error. Most people ignore this because they've been trained to prioritize social cohesion over truth. You, however, cannot ignore it. The dissonance feels like a high-pitched ringing in your ears. This is your internal truth detector at work. It's a survival mechanism designed to identify threats before they manifest as physical actions. You aren't being paranoid. You are simply reading the telemetry that everyone else is ignoring. This leads us into the second layer of your hardware, which is the physical echo. You don't just understand someone's pain. You feel a literal phantom version of it in your own body. This is the result of your mirror neurons being overclocked. Mirror neurons are the brain's empathy tech, designed to help us learn through observation and connect with the tribe. In the rare mind, these neurons are hypersensitive. When you see someone get hurt, your own somatosensory cortex fires as if you were the one struck. This turns empathy into a tactical data feed. You aren't just being nice. You are literally simulating the internal state of the person across from you. While this can be draining, it also makes you a master of negotiation and conflict resolution, if you can learn to detach from the data once it's been collected. But there is a deeper reason for the exhaustion you feel, and that's environmental absorption. You cannot turn off the room. You sense the anxiety of the person 3 tables over at the restaurant. Your sensory gating is wide open, taking in the raw data of every human in your vicinity. This is why you prefer the corners of rooms, or why you feel the need to wear headphones in public. It's not that you're antisocial. It's that you are performing high-speed simulations of every person in your radius. Your brain is trying to solve 1,000 puzzles at once. This is the weight of being a sentinel. You are scanning for the one variable that might disrupt the peace. Society calls this social anxiety, but I call it high-resolution tactical mapping. You are simply aware of more variables than the average person can even conceive of. This naturally results in what I call conflict prediction. You can sense a social storm brewing 20 minutes before the first argument starts. You are the scout of the tribe, detecting the scent of smoke before the fire is visible. You notice the way a friend clenches their jaw, or the specific cadence of a partner's footsteps. You know the explosion is coming. When it finally happens, everyone else is shocked, but you've already processed the outcome. You are living in the future because your brain is so efficient at calculating the trajectory of emotional momentum. This is why you are often the one who stays calm during a crisis. You already did the screaming in your head 10 minutes ago. Because your system is so attuned to real signals, you develop a physical intolerance for small talk or fake personalities. This is your authenticity filter. Your system views inauthentic behavior as noise that interferes with your signal. When someone engages in performative social rituals, it feels like static on a television screen. It's physically uncomfortable. You aren't being elitist or judgmental. You are simply protecting your bandwidth. Why waste high-fidelity processing power on low-resolution data? This is why you gravitate toward deep, meaningful connections, and why you'd rather be alone than in a room full of people wearing masks. Your internal locus of identity demands truth, and anything less feels like a violation of your biological integrity. One of the most powerful aspects of your hardware is manipulation immunity. It is almost impossible to gaslight you. Even if you don't have the words yet, your gut has already archived the lie. You are a sentinel designed to detect corruption. When a narcissist or a manipulator tries to rewrite your reality, your nervous system recoils. You may not be able to explain why you don't trust someone, but your amygdala has already flagged their predatory patterns. Society often tries to shame this intuition, calling it being judgmental or closed off. But this is your primary defense mechanism. You are a mirror void. When people try to project their lies onto you, you simply reflect them back until they become uncomfortable and leave. However, all of this comes at a cost, which is the recovery tax. After a social event, you don't just feel tired, you feel decalibrated. You need silence to flush the borrowed data out of your system. You have been carrying the emotional luggage of everyone you encountered, and your nervous system needs to return to its baseline. This is why your home is likely a laboratory of the self, a place where you control every sensory input. This isn't laziness, it's essential maintenance. If you don't pay the recovery tax, your hardware will begin to glitch, leading to burnout or physical illness. Silence is the water that washes the static away. Society wants you to believe this sensitivity is a curse, because it makes you harder to control. If you can feel their hidden agendas, you are dangerous to their systems. People who can't be lied to are a threat to those who rely on deception to maintain power. But your sensitivity is actually an evolutionary safeguard. In an ancient tribe, you were the one who knew the leader was becoming unstable or that a scout was lying about a threat. You were the early warning system that kept the pack alive. You aren't broken. You possess a sentinel intelligence that allows you to navigate the wicked environments of human social structures with surgical precision. Your sensitivity is not a flaw to be cured. It is a sensor to be calibrated. Stop trying to toughen up. That's like asking a high-definition camera to lower its resolution so it doesn't see the cracks in the wall. The cracks are there whether people want to see them or not. Your job isn't to go blind, it's to learn how to handle the sight. Start learning to read your own reports without being consumed by them. You are the observer, not the data. When you feel that vibration of someone else's anger or sadness, recognize it as a notification on your screen. Acknowledge the data, archive it, and then return to your center. Stop explaining yourself to people who are literally incapable of perceiving what you perceive. You are trying to describe color to people who live in a black and white world. It's a waste of your cognitive energy. Silence is your boundary. You don't owe anyone an explanation for why you need to leave a party early or why you don't trust a new acquaintance. Your autonomy is your highest priority. Put the hoodie on, retreat into your internal sanctuary, and stop asking for permission to be what you are. You are a cycle breaker. You are the one who sees the patterns of trauma and manipulation that have been running in your family for generations, and you are the one with the hardware to stop them. It's heavy work and it's lonely work, but it's the work you were optimized for. You aren't too much, they are just too little. You are a sentinel, a protector of the truth in a world that is terrified of it. If you've spent your life being told you're too much, drop a shield in the comments. Let the other detectors know they aren't alone in the noise. We are the wolf pack of solitude, and while we may operate alone, we recognize the signal in each other. Subscribe for more deep dives into the hardware of the rare mind. We don't do fluff here, we just look at the data. You aren't fragile, you are a sentinel. Stay observant, stay rare. Sila's out.